How's it going, Twitch? My name is Skul, and on behalf of East Asia Soft, welcome to today's stream. Today, I am starting a brand new playthrough of a game that I played a long time ago here on EAS. It was a game that I started and then got distracted with other games, and I've always wanted to go back to this and play it properly the whole way through, so that's what I'm going to be doing beginning today. And the game is If My Heart Had Wings. Hello, Fun Fion, how are you doing? So this is a visual novel, and if you've been tuning in to this Twitch channel on Sundays through the first half of this year, you'll know that I played through another visual novel, Yume Tsutsu. Unlike that, this game has gotten a physical release, which you can go and order right now at playasia.com. For the Nintendo Switch, and I'm super happy to own this game physically, and I really am in love with this game. But it's been so long since I played it, and so long since any of you have seen it, most likely. I decided that in order to properly do this game justice, starting today, I'm going to start over from the beginning. Whatever progress I had made during the last time I played this, I'm going to be erasing, starting from scratch. But that's fine, because I'm pretty sure I didn't have any branched paths yet anyway. So, without further ado, let us begin If My Heart Had Wings for the Nintendo Switch. After these opening credits. And this white screen. I have 23 friends online, but my webcam is blocking that. Okay, here we go. Okay. I think my webcam is best right here where I set it here, but if not, I'll be adjusting it as we go. And so the way I'm going to be playing this game is I'll be playing this game on Sundays until it's over. By my estimate, it'll take me about 3 to 4 months to get through this game, at least through one ending. So yeah, that's what I'll be playing on Sundays. On Tuesdays and Fridays, I'll keep playing whatever else is going on that's relevant, that EAS is either publishing soon or recently published. In fact, Tuesday I'll be continuing my playthrough of Trigger Witch. So, but Sundays, it's this game, and I'm super, super excited to play through it. Let's go. I hit start. I promise I hit start. I should have checked the config in order to see what the auto button is. What is the auto button on a Switch controller? Oh, here we go. I always thought road bicycle racing was one of the hardest spots around, or hardest sports around. Hill climbs were the worst. While putting strain on every muscle in your body, you had to continue pedaling without stopping to climb a steep hill. During those times, I always thought, I can't do this anymore. I'll make this race my last. Even though I had that thought every time, in the end, I still took part in the next race. I trained so hard just to be able to endure those grueling hill climbs without stopping. Why did I do it? Because once I finished the hill climb, there would be a reward waiting for me. Nothing compared to the feeling of cutting through the wind as I raced down the hill at blistering speed. In those moments, I always felt an incredible rush. And in that rush, I was able to forget about everything. The pain of the hill climb, the strain on every muscle in my body, and the days of hard practice. It wasn't a matter of winning or losing. I just did it. Did it for the rush. That's why I rode. That's how it should have been. I forgot the main character doesn't have a voice. All the other characters have voices. The main character's silent, so I have to give all that dialogue. So probably for the best that I am not using the auto button here. I was young and thought I was invincible. That was when the unimaginable happened. Suddenly, without warning, something was taken from me. I could almost use the word closed or even lost. However, to express the emotion I felt at that time, taken would be the word that fit best. So, there was one thing that I learned. Life isn't all about having fun. I gained a lesson in life. The thing I lost was everything. I let myself get depressed about this, but I should have thought about it a little more. If something could be taken from me so abruptly, then something could be given to me as well. The wind blew. A gentle but strong wind. It wouldn't be unreasonable to see it as a sort of encounter. What this could be the start of? There was no way for me to know. I appreciate the graphics. I appreciate the CGI. The turbines turned. People get overwhelmed by how enormous they are. Their unnatural silhouettes serve a function, but to those who don't know what that is, it would appear to be something very bizarre. And with how they were all lined up, they seemed even more overwhelming. But I wondered why. The side of the white turbines lined up on the green hills somehow seemed so picturesque. This is amazing. So they make things like this these days. At the very least, 5 years ago, there was nothing here but an open field. I heard they were going to build a large-scale natural energy research facility. The cell phone in my pocket vibrated to tell me I had received a text. It's from Tetsuya. To Aoi. Did you arrive already? Sorry I couldn't come to meet you. My name is read as Aoi, but the way it's written in kanji, it's often mistakenly read as Midori. Either way, both Aoi and Midori sounded like girls' names, which always caused me problems. I replied to him. I hardly ever texted, so I found the keyboard awkward to use. I got here a little too early, so I'm just going for a stroll. The turbines are amazing. Okay, send. The reply came quickly. They're great, right? It's the new famous spot in Kazagara. Anyway, if you have any problems, contact me anytime. Tetsuya. Thank you, Tetsuya. As I sent the text, I sat down on the grass. This place is on the hillside, so from there I was able to gaze at the lake and the town that stretches across the opposite bank. The rapid redevelopment of the town of Kazagora had old buildings intermingled with modern architecture. The view expressed both the past and the future at the same time. Something white flitted across my field of vision. For a moment, it looked like one of the turbine blades had come flying off, but there's no way that could happen. A paper airplane? I got up and headed down the slope to look for it. The paper airplane, gliding gently, eventually lost its momentum and descended. Gotcha! I ran ahead, leaped, and caught it in midair. Where did this come flying from? Judging by the direction, it had come from the top of the hill. At a time and a place like this, could there have been someone here besides me? I took the paper airplane with me and climbed up the slope. I managed to get to the top. A gust of wind blew the paper airplane out of my hand. Ah! Hey, wait! I ran further up the slope to catch the paper airplane. Music is just ethereal. I'm sure that reads if my heart had wings. Then, just as I finally caught it, I remember her. There was someone on top of the hill. It was a girl sitting in a wheelchair. She looked fleetingly into the distant sky as the breeze flew through her hair. Against the background of the blue sky and turbines that spread across my view, the girl's black hair and white blouse looked striking. It was as if I was looking at a completed work of art. The girl noticed me. At first, I thought I should make an excuse for why I was there. It made me start to feel guilty because I had stepped into her area without permission. She didn't say anything. Perhaps she was being cautious. To show her the reason I had come here, I showed her the paper airplane. Did you throw this? The moment she saw it, her facial expression stiffened. She looked like she was about to cry. I could see tears forming in the corners of her eyes. Huh? What? The tears started to flow. As I watched, great big tears came rolling down her cheeks. Huh? Hey! I rushed to her side. What's wrong? Are you hurt somewhere? As she shook her head, she held my hand, which I had unconsciously held out to her. Her hand was small and trembling. Squeeze. She gently squeezed my hand. It's okay now. I didn't even know what the situation was. As I answered, I squeezed her hand back. Peck, peck, peck. Ow! Ouch! Before I knew it, there was some kind of chicken at my feet that started pecking at me. Peck, peck, peck. Ow! That hurts! What is this thing? Hattie, as it was called, calmed down at her command. Is it a duck? With its yellow beak and white feathers, what I thought was a chicken was obviously a duck. For some reason, it was wearing a hat.
ごめんなさい。私が泣いたから。あなたが泣かせたと勘違いしたみたい。
Oh. Never thought it would be this surprising to be attacked by an animal. Thanks to that, though, it looked like she had stopped crying. Is a hand towel okay? I don't carry a handkerchief around with me. As I said that, and without waiting for her to reply, I took a hand towel out of my bag. Of course it had been washed, so it was clean.
ありがとう。
Why were you crying? Are you hurt somewhere?
そうじゃないわ。
As she answered, she pointed to one of the wheels of her wheelchair. From what I could tell, it had gone flat. You got a flat tire?
おかげで立ち往生していたの。もう1時間もよ。
That was a terrible thing to hear. Just a mere flat tire for her was like having her legs taken away. Don't you have a cell phone?
部屋に置いてきた。
She sounded discouraged.
だから他の方法で助けを呼ぼうと思って。そしたら SOS を受け取って来てくれた人がいたから。
SOS? Oh, this? I opened up the paper airplane that I still had in my hand. I'm in trouble. Someone help me. I'm at Windmill Hill. She started crying out of relief that someone was here to help her. She seemed fine now, but it must have been terrifying being helpless. Hold on a moment. I rustled through my bag. When she saw the tools I had taken out, she seemed confused. Would it be okay for you to get off for a moment?
どうして？
I'm going to fix it. You can't go anywhere if you have a flat tire, can you?
そうだけど、手貸してもらってもいいかしら。
Of course. Getting out of the wheelchair wasn't easy for her. What should I do? From the methods I'd seen on TV, the care workers hold them from the front. We both looked as though we'd imagined that situation and froze.
やっぱり自分で。
Excuse me for a moment. As I put my arms around her sides to her back, I lifted her up. Whoa, she's light. Because she was much lighter than I had expected, there was a bit too much momentum. Here you are. Before she could grasp the situation, I put her down on the soft grass. I'll have it done soon, so hold tight for a bit. My webcam is blocking his face. There, that's what he looks like. Okay, back to blocking his face now. Hello. Thank you, OBS. I guess they're the same as bike tires. I immediately started on the repairs. Since I had my back to her, I couldn't see the expression, but I had a feeling she was looking at me with contempt. As I was working, the duck was waddling around me and pecking at the soil. Is this duck your pet?
違う。ただの同居人。
Housemates.
散歩しようと思ったら勝手についてきちゃったのよ。ハット、あんまり遠くへ行っちゃダメよ。置いてっちゃうんだから。わあ。
Are ducks able to recognize their own names? This one responded to his own name. Hey, he's pretty smart.
そうなのよ。だから困るの。いたずらばっかりして。
As I looked at the duck, I saw her legs laid out on the grass. I guess she can't move them. There are several reasons why people need to use a wheelchair, but it looked like she had a disability in her legs. When I picked her up just now, her body stiffened up with surprise, but there was no strength at all in her legs. The duck returned from his excursion. While walking around her, he would occasionally try to jump onto her lap.
邪魔。
She pleaded as she pushed him down. As I watched this from the corner of my eye, I continued repairing the tire.
男の子ってすごいのね。そんな道具いつも持ち歩いてるんだ。
Not really. I just happened to be carrying them around.
私、草の上に座るのなんて久しぶり。柔らかくて気持ちいい。
As she said that, she stretched her arms.
いいところよね。ここ。
Yeah, it is.
部屋の窓から見えるのよ。一度来てみたかったの。
The wind blows through here. 5 years ago, there were no turbines, though.
5年前？
I just came back to this town.
そうなんだ。
She looked away into the far distance.
じゃああなたは故郷に帰ってきたんだ。
Yeah. She suddenly looked down and seemed sad. There was an awkward silence as I continued working.
What?
The duck twisted its neck to look up at the sky.
どうしたの？ハット。
The girl looked up as well.
何かしらあれ。
What's wrong?
何か飛んでる。
There was something floating in the air. It was crossing the lake and gradually getting closer. At first, I thought that it was a paper airplane that she had thrown coming back to us. But it wasn't. It couldn't have been. It crossed the lake and eventually reached above the small hill where we were. An airplane? It wasn't paper, it was a real plane. But what was up with it? The silhouette was much thinner than any plane I knew, and the wings were long.
グライダーだ。間違いない。あれ、グライダーよ。
A glider? I repeated the name to confirm what it was and looked to the sky again. The silhouette of the large white wings reminded me of a seagull.
ほら、見て、旋回してる。綺麗ね。
The thing that I guessed was a glider continued to go in circles above our heads. It's flying pretty slowly.
当然よ。水力がないんだもの。
It looked like it was floating rather than flying in the sky.
あんな風に飛ぶんだ。
I bet it'd feel nice up there.
降りてきた。
The glider seemed to have given up rising and started to head for the hill we were at. It didn't seem like it was going to land, though. It was just reducing its altitude. Why don't we try waving? They might notice us. She raised her hand toward the sky and started to wave at the aircraft.
はーい。わわ。
Patty, too. I didn't know if the pilot noticed us or not. However, the gleaming light which reflected off the wings looked as if it were answering to us. Then the glider turned its back to us and flew back to the other side of the lake, where it had come from.
行っちゃった。
She mumbled sadly as she lowered her hand. Extend the little wings which fly in the sky highly. Yeah, that's one thing I forgot about this. Poems of some kind. It sounds poetic. I fixed the flat tire and followed her into town. We got to the residential area located on the opposite side of the lake where Windmill Hill was.
ここでいいわ。
Are you sure? I can take you home.
いい。
I was going to ask again, but I stopped. Just because I was nice to her didn't mean she'd want to have a stranger like me to know where she lived.
ありがとう。おかげで助かったわ。
Don't mention it. If your tire ever goes flat again, call me anytime. I said it as a joke, but she started blushing and looked down.
わ。ありがとう。
Hmm? You already thanked me.
ちょっとだけ楽しかった。友達と遊ぶみたいで。
Yeah, I feel the same. And I was able to see something I usually don't. The glider that we had just seen was now flying above us.
私も本物を見たの初めて。素敵な思い出ができちゃった。
She murmured quietly and giggled. Her cute smile matched her lovely appearance.
それじゃあもう行くわね。
Okay, take care.
ええ。
The wheels squeaked as she pushed the wheelchair along with her hands down an empty street. Behind her, the duck wearing a hat waddled along with her. Hey! She stopped her hands and turned to face me. See you again! Her expression seemed pained. She left without saying anything. She sure was cute. I wondered where she was from. Her appearance was quite elegant, as if she were the daughter of a rich family. A little lady with a duck? It was an odd combination, but it seemed like a good match. Okay, I'd better go. I had to make my way to the Flying Fish Manor dormitory. Due to certain circumstances, that was going to be my new home. While walking along the gently sloping street, I looked up at the clouds moving above. Floating so freely like that, they reminded me of the glider. That distinctive silhouette had left a mysterious impression on me. I finally found it. Is this it? Flying Fish Manor. The name doesn't match the appearance at all! It was like giving a tough-looking Japanese mastiff a name like Lily. At least call it Mason de Flying Fish or something. No wonder I couldn't find this place. I had completely ruled out this place and ended up walking around in circles. I couldn't believe this was it. Flying Fish Manor. There's no doubt about it. Even so, I'm still not entirely convinced. Actually, I was very familiar with this place. When we were kids, we used to call the spooky-looking mansion the Witch's Mansion. To test how brave we were, we'd often sneak into the yard. We just thought it was some rich guy's house, but never expected it to be a dormitory. Kaifu Academy Student Dormitory. I can't just stand here in shock. Okay, now I'm ready. I took a deep breath and stood up straight. Hello?
あら？お客さん？
Good night, everybody. What? I had entered the dormitory with a stern face, but with the sudden appearance of a lightly dressed girl, that was gone.
どちら様ですか？
Why? She was the one who should be worried about being seen, but why was I the one feeling the pressure?
訪問販売はお断りしてます。どうしたのかなちゃん？なんかお客さんみたい。お客さん？男の人？
Another girl, wearing clothes, looked at me and let out a shriek. The glasses she wore looked like they were about to slip off.
かなちゃん、ふくふく。どうしたの？
Another girl appeared.
あ、ゆかさん。知らない男の子がかなちゃんの裸を。なんですって？
There's just not a good place to put my webcam, is there? Huh? What? Huh? No, that's not true. Like some sort of miracle, my cell phone began to ring. It was a call from my mom. Sorry, just a minute. I quickly answered the call to escape outside. Mom!
そろそろ飛び噂について落ち着いてる頃だと思って。どんな感じ？
The place is full of girls! And one of them was in her underwear.
当たり前じゃない。だってそこ。
Huh? I triple-checked the sign again and noticed there was small text written in the corner. Girls' dormitory. This is a girls' dormitory!
あら、言ってなかったかしら？
Did you do this on purpose? What is this? What kind of mother are you? I'm going to be the house mother here from now on, aren't I?
大丈夫よ。オーナーさんも寮生の方たちも了解してくれてるから。
They were just screaming at the top of their lungs!
あら、間違えて更衣室入っちゃった？
Typical mom. She totally did this on purpose for the fun of it. I hit the wrong button. Whoa. Whoa, 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 what happened? Let's just pretend that didn't happen, okay? Creak. The front door opened slightly, and the girls from before were peeking through.
どう？さなちゃん。まだいます。
I tried to talk with them, but they pulled their faces back inside the house and shut the door. What am I supposed to do about this? Well, this is the situation I'm stuck with.
ほうほう。じゃああなたが新しい寮母さんなんだ。
While I was explaining the situation, the boarding students, apart from the girl who was lightly dressed, surrounded me but kept their distance. This won't work, right? A guy being the house mother of a girls' dormitory?
いいんじゃないの？
The other girls hiding behind her seemed to agree.
誰か来てくれないともっと困るから。そうなのよね。 でももっと年配の人だとばかり思ってて。はい。
There was another girl in the crowd. She was about my age and she looked frightened. What is it?
葵くんって言ったっけ？年はいくつ？
I'm still a student. From tomorrow, I'll be attending Kaifu Academy. I'll be in the second year classes.
へえ、じゃあ年下なんだ。似合う。
What was that grin on her face? The person who came to speak to all of you is my mother, and, well, she kind of tricked me into accepting the job of house mother. My mom had a job related to real estate, and her company managed the property.
ですって。どうしますゆかさん、チェンジします？そういう事情なら。
Once the person who seemed oldest said so, the others accepted it. This is just until the caretaker owner comes back or we find someone else. I apologize for the inconvenience, but for the time being, let's all try to get along. Once it was settled, everyone had started to go back to their room.
いやー、なんかごめんね。みんなおぼこい娘さんたちのもんで、若い男を前にして舞い上がっちゃってんのよ。私はしぐれかな子。なんかあったら私に言ってちょうだい。管理人さんの部屋は1階の廊下の突き当たりよ。
Thank you very much. Was that all of the boarding students? The girl who was lightly dressed was Kanako. Also, there was Yuka, who was the tall and oldest, Sane, who with the glasses, and the frightened one was Ryoko. That's 4 people altogether.
ああ、もう一人いるんだけど、いわゆる引きこもりというやつで、そのうち出てくるんじゃないかな。
I see. That meant there were 5 in total. Only 5 people in such a big building. Mom did say there were quite a few vacancies. It was old and a little far from the school, so maybe it wasn't that popular.
汗かいちゃったから、もう一回お風呂入ってこよっと。
Anyway, I called my mom to let her know that everything was settled. So in the end, we somehow worked things out.
さあ、それはよかったわ。言っておくけど、寮の子に手出しちゃダメよ。
What are you talking about, Mom?
まあ、問題にならない程度ならいいけど。あ、それから。
Sorry, I just love doing that outburst voice, the whole flabbergasted voice. It's so fun to do.
前に言ったと思うけど、一人足の不自由な子がいるから。
This is what we call irony. Suddenly, suddenly the sound of flapping wings came from down the hallway. Then a shrill voice sounded out.
待ちなさい、ハト！ぐわー！
Huh? A big white object came flying down the hallway, and from behind, at breakneck speed, was the girl in the wheelchair.
待て！このバカアヒル！私のパンツ返しなさい！
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
わっわっわっ！
Saving that picture, though, that's for sure. The big white thing, which seemed like a duck, flapped its wings and flew behind me. The girl in the wheelchair drifted past me and continued to chase the duck. I was so overwhelmed that I became speechless.
捕まえたわよ、ハト！
The girl in the wheelchair caught the duck and snatched away a small piece of cloth from his beak.
まったくあんたはいたずらばっかりして、今度やったら北京ダックにしてやるんだから。
The The girl put the duck on her knee and scolded him. I'd seen this before. However, she's nothing like the girl I met earlier in the day. In the daytime, she seemed more dainty and delicate. However, her appearance was still the same. It was rare to meet a girl this beautiful. Looks like your tire's in good condition.
Huh?
She finally realized that there was a guy standing there.
もしもし葵聞いてるの
Yeah. What is it?
足が不自由な子がいるから面倒を見てあげてねって話よ
Sure, I got it. Talk to you soon, Mom. I replied back and then ended the call.
どうしてあなたがここに
She got as far as saying that, but then noticed what she had in her hand and started to hide it.
なんでここにいるの新しい寮母さんだよ、小鳥ちゃん
Kaneko, who was taking a bath, poked her head out.
はい何よそれ聞いてないんですけどいようにも小鳥ちゃんめったに部屋から出てこないんだもん新しい寮母って男の子じゃない
Yep. House mother, guy, I'd be a little confused too, so. You see that? From the looks of her, that's what it looked like she wanted to say.
そのやりとりはうちらはるか昔に通過したから
The girl called Kotori glared at Kaneko. I forgot how much this is going to really... I forgot how much of a struggle it is to say these. I'm sure I'll get used to it by the end. Kotori. Kotori. Kaneko. Kotori. Kaneko. I'm the new house mother, Aoi Minase.
ハバネ小鳥です
Kotori introduced herself to me, but I still didn't feel welcomed.
この子はハトってもう知ってるわよね
Hattie turned to face me and flapped his wings. He's a smart one.
本当にあなたが新しい寮母さんなの
Yes, that's right. So you're against it? It'd be understandable if she didn't like the fact that a guy was going to be the house mother of a girl's dorm. Kotori closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Kotori?
昼間のことは忘れて
Earlier today? Like, which part?
なるべく全部だけどそうね強いて言うなら
She stopped talking and stared at Kaneko, who was standing behind, listening. Kaneko gave up and disappeared down the hallway.
この私がついうっかりポロッと泣いちゃったりしたことよ
Oh. That incident was quite startling, and I remembered it well. It was rare to see such a girl cry like that right in front of me. She felt embarrassed about it, but it was quite a scene.
クイックセーブできたわよ
Hey, I just saved the game. Okay, right trigger.
忘れ
Huh? No, not yet.
た忘れろ今す
Don't be so silly. Framing it like that actually makes it harder to forget.
ぐ
that's a great face. Hi, Puglorf. How you doing?
あのね新入りのあなたは知らないだろうけど私これでも
Look at that face. That's such a funny face. I like that. I love that. Kotori straightened her back. She put a smile on her face, then swept her hair back.
クールビューティーで通ってるの
What's a loo?
ビューティーよちょっと言い間違えただけ
Oh, I thought it was a new word or something.
もう一回言うからもう一回やらせて
As she said that, she tried to straighten her back and put on a smile. That's enough. I get it, all right? Got tickets to TMG. Ooh, too many games. Hope you enjoy that. It's just this. I need to save that face. I'm sorry.
もう意地悪ハギャストリ人でらしい
Ouch. Why don't you tell me how you really feel? Kotori used just about every insult there was, then turned her wheelchair around. She hurried back down the hallway and went back into her room. Hattie, who was thrown off the wheelchair on the way, chased after her to her room and entered through a small door at the bottom. All I could do was watch. Needless to say, the dainty and delicate impression I'd have of her was completely gone. And the feelings that I'd so quickly developed towards her disappeared with it. But cool Alu, huh? When I remembered her sweeping her hair up and saying cool Alul full of confidence, it made me want to laugh. She's a funny one. Things were only just beginning, and everything was already getting a little crazy. I had a feeling things would get even more interesting starting from tomorrow. I don't know why I struggle to say Kotori so hard. Kotori. Extend the little wings which fly in the sky highly. Kotori. 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 I could say it fine when it's not in a sentence. My first job as a house mother. That is to make breakfast for the boarders.
葵くん料理上手だねおかわり
Sure, plus a little extra, right?
わかってるね
I felt confident in my cooking. Until recently, I lived with my father, who had to transfer to another region. I helped out every day with the chores. I was in charge of preparing the meals, and it's not like I hated cooking or anything. That's one of the reasons why I accepted the job as house mother. Do the others need breakfast? It seemed like nobody wanted to come into the dining hall. When I did see someone pass by the door, they would sneak past it. Kaneko looked towards the hallway just as the oldest girl, Yuka, who had peeked in before, swiftly dashed off.
もうみんなオブだからね男の子に免疫がないのよ
But Kaifu is a co-ed school, right?
いくら学校で同じでも寝起きの緩み切ったすっぴんが見られちゃうわけじゃないからね
I see. It seemed that a guy being the house mother of a girl's dorm had its problems after all. There was a reason why I accepted the job as the house mother of Flying Fish Manor. Not long ago, the owner had collapsed. I had heard that the owner, who was also in charge of maintenance, was an elderly lady who'd collapsed a few days before. The owner soon began looking for a replacement, but it was hard to find one. She eventually got help from my mother, who worked in real estate. This was one of the properties that my mom managed, and she was an old acquaintance of the owner from decades ago. She nominated me for this job just as I was planning to come back here. By paper, my mom was the one responsible for this place, but I had to carry out the duties as the house mother. That became the condition for me coming back to this town. As always, she was very crafty, but I wasn't really against the idea, so I accepted. If I'd known it was an all-girls place, of course, I would have refused. The house was old and a bit far from school, but the rent was cheap. Apart from the food and admin expenses, it cost next to nothing. That's why it would have been a big problem for me if I couldn't stay here. Worst case scenario, the boarders wouldn't be able to go to school. So for now, it seemed like everyone had accepted a guy as the house mother.
ごちそうさー美味しかった
Kaneko stacked up the dishes on the counter and licked her lips in satisfaction.
ま、みんなそのうち慣れるって。じゃ、行ってきまーす。
She had eaten it all, not even a single grain of rice was left. To have people enjoy my cooking feels pretty good. I felt deeply relieved. I was happy that she enjoyed my food. Oh no, I better get ready for school. Kotori was at the entrance of the dorm. She was dressed in her uniform and looked like she was about to go to school. Morning, Kotori.
おはよう。
Oh man, that was a that was a flat Ohio. Man. Are you going to school? Do you want to go together?
なんでそうなるの？
Why? Well,
私の足のことを心配してるなら余計なお世話よ。ふんと。
as she said that bluntly, she went out the front door. I don't have any friends at school, so I was just asking. It looked like we'd had a strange misunderstanding. I don't think Kotori likes him much. Wearing my new uniform, I made my way to school. I'm a house mother, but also a student of Kaifu Academy. I mean, this is my real occupation. Today was the first day at my new school. Look at this campus. Wow, that's pretty. I wasn't really the shy type, but I guess I was kind of nervous. The school I went to before was an all-boys school with a good sports program. Kaifu Academy, the school I'd be going to now, was a co-ed engineering school. The school traditions were quite different too. As I walked along the street to school, I spotted many different groups of students wearing the same uniform. I'd lived in this area 5 years ago. I should have been able to recognize a few people, but no one stood out. I wondered if the ones who chose to go to Kaifu Academy remembered me. Even if I only knew one person, it would make a difference. I want to get a dedicated save in while I'm thinking about it.
データ上書きしちゃってもいい
Yeah,
の
I'll
よ
write
ね。
that. There we go. Okay, wow, look at... Okay, 10 saves per page, 10 pages. We can have 100 save files. Wow, how many endings are there to this game? Guess we'll find out sometime. There was already a weird misunderstanding between Miss Alul and I. I wonder which school Agea and the others went to. They were my childhood friends who I always played with back in the day. There was Agea, Masa, Hotoru, and Tetsuya. Out of that group, Agea and Masa were the same age as me, but it'd been 5 years since we last met, and we hadn't really stayed in touch. We did manage to exchange New Year's cards, though. That reminded me, the corners of the cards included small messages saying what school they were going to. I think. I hadn't told anyone except Tetsuya I was back, and I had been too busy, or just lazy. I wouldn't even know what to do or say if I met them. If it were Hageha, she'd yell at me for not contacting her, probably smash my face in. She'd look and acted like a real tomboy. When I remembered the past, it put a smirk on my face.
お、
At the point where the two streets leading to the school met, a girl wearing a Kaifu uniform stood there looking towards me. The other girls that she was walking to school with seemed puzzled as they asked what was wrong. As if she couldn't hear what they were asking, she kept her eyes on me the whole time. From what I could make out, she seemed surprised. She's pretty cute. So does he just think this about all the girls? I stopped walking as well and started to stare at the girl. Until a few days ago, I went to an all-boys school. The sight of a girl on the way to school in her uniform, pretty cute too, caused me to get flustered, which was perfectly reasonable.
もしかして葵？
Yes. Yes, it is. Suddenly, having someone call my name in such a carefree manner made me feel a little nervous. Who was it?
やっぱり葵だ！嘘、本当に？
There, she said my name again, and she looked so happy too. Did I know any girls that cute? No, wait, I'd seen her face before. A girl whose eyes sparkled like a child when they smiled. Is that you, Agea?
もしかしなくてもアゲハよ。忘れちゃったの？私の顔。
She asked as she briskly moved closer, bringing her face right up to mine. It was definitely Ageha. She changed a lot, but if I just looked at her face, there was no doubt that it was her. Is it really the Ageha?
しつこいな。他にどのアゲハがいるってのよ。正真正銘、本物の姫木アゲハです。
The other girls who were with her started to gather around me. Agea turned to face them and introduced me.
この子、水瀬葵くん。転校生よ。サッチンは覚えてるよね。
Sachin replied, "No way, Aoi," with a surprised tone. If I remembered correctly, we were in the same class back in 4th grade.
私と葵は幼馴染なの。昔ここに住んでたんだけど、転校してっちゃったのよね。
The girls seemed impressed by Agea's explanation, and they looked at me with eyes full of expectation. Nice to meet you. I'm Aoi Minase. I greeted all the girls in front of me wearing their uniforms with a stern look on my face, trying to hide my embarrassment. Agea laughed as she looked on. I never thought I would introduce myself in the middle of the street on the way to school like this, so I was totally unprepared. I'll say it again. Let me do it again. I could hear Miss Alul's words in the back of my mind.
背伸びたわね。最初誰かわかんなかったわ。
As she spoke, Agea was moving her hands around my head to show the difference in height between us. Our bodies were about to make contact, but she either didn't notice or didn't really care. I flinched slightly, but the fact that she was so unreserved actually made me feel comfortable.
昔は私といい勝負だったのに、男の子はずるいな。
Speaking of which, you've changed too.
そう？
She looked around at herself. Yeah, you always looked like a boy, so I was surprised to see you looking girlish. Those were my honest thoughts, but it sounded weird. I thought she might feel the same, but...
ぬふふん。どうだ、いい女になっただろ。
Good night, everybody. Agea laughed happily and did a little turn on the spot. The force of her spin made her skirt float gently. Yeah, it's like you're not Agea. Without a thought given, those words just slipped out.
イエーイ、やったね。
Agea was pleased and did high fives with her friends. It reminded me of old times seeing her in high spirits like that. Agea, my best friend during my childhood, hadn't changed in the 5 years that had passed. Her appearance was surprising, though. The lessons on the first day at my new school flew by in the blink of an eye. Of course, there were regular classes like Japanese and social studies, but there were specialist classes as well. I guess in Japan they have Japanese just like here we have English. Never get over it. I was still in the second year, so there weren't that many, but it looked like the number of specialist classes would increase later on. By the way, this was a 5-year school. That's why when I walked down the hallways... Hey, she looks nice. Coming from an all-boys school, I couldn't resist looking at the girls passing by.
ほほう。早速女子のチェックですか？
No, it's not that. That's not it. I just thought that they looked really grown up, that's all.
4年か5年の先輩じゃないかな。
At our age, a gap of 3 or 4 years was pretty big. The upper class students looked mature in comparison.
それにね、うちってこの手の専門学校にしては女子の比率が多いんだよ。
Oh? Why is that? Equal rights? Without thinking, I really took an interest in that, and Agea looked at me as if she wanted to call me a pervert.
校舎の建て替えと同時期に女子生徒の受け入れを強化したんだって。
I had heard about that before I transferred. They increased the number of courses to accommodate more girls and even asked famous designers to help design the new building. Thanks to that, the ratio of boys and girls was about 50-50, which became one of the selling points of the school. Coming from an all-boys school, this selling point was the thing that made me want to transfer to this school. Soon enough, lunchtime rolled around. Agea was in the middle of giving me a tour of the school. This really is an amazing school. The school itself was pretty old. Due to it being a special kind of school, of course, it was famous in the local area. Even I knew about it since I was a kid. The school renovation took a few years and was completed just last year. Apparently, it was all thanks to some famous designer. The design and appearance of the school was far from what we would imagine a regular school would be. It felt like I had entered some kind of sci-fi setting.
設備も最高だよ。冷暖房完備、完全バリアフリーで、どんな人も安心して学校生活が送れます。
Full access for students with disabilities. Oh yeah, Miss Kotori, should be somewhere in this school.
でもさ、葵、ほんと変わったよね。
Walking by my side, she was happily murmuring while she looked at my face.
顔とか昔はもっと可愛らしかったのに、なんかゴツゴツしちゃってさ。
Same to you.
ひどっ、私ゴツゴツなんてしてないもん。
She was fast. If she found out that I had thought she was cute before I realized it was her, she wouldn't let me hear the last of it.
あんちゃんから聞いてなかったら気づかなかったわよ。
You heard it from Tatsuya?
そう、葵が帰ってくるってね。
It so happened that I ended up in the same class as Agea too. She knew when a transfer student was coming, which was why she wasn't that surprised when we met this morning.
あんたね、帰ってくるなら連絡くらいよこしなさいよね。
Sorry. We really looked up to Tatsuya. He was like an older brother to us. We'd been friends with him for such a long time. He wasn't related by blood, but he was just like a real big brother. Agea glared at me as I tried to laugh it off.
昔の私ならアックスボンバーかましてるところよ。
Whew. I didn't want any part of that. We talked some more, then went back to the classroom. The classrooms weren't exactly normal either. I felt a little uneasy having classes here, but maybe I'd get used to it soon. By the way, there's a girl in a wheelchair who goes to the school, right? Miss Kotori Habane, was it? I asked Agea as we returned to our seats. I didn't ask what grade she was in, but even if it wasn't the same, I thought Agea might know her.
ああ、うん。
Agea reacted in an evasive way. It wasn't just Agea, the others seated nearby also seemed to get awkward. Hmm?
ハバネさんならうちのクラスだよ。今日は来てないみたいだけど。
According to the others, it wasn't just today that she'd missed class. On top of that, they talked rather harshly about her. That can't be. I mean, I thought about maybe explaining that she'd left the dorm this morning in her uniform, but I held my tongue. It was because everyone felt uneasy talking about her.
ここんとこずっと休んでるんだ。体調が良くないみたいでさ。
Not feeling well? Yesterday, she went out to Windmill Hill, and then later she was chasing that duck around the halls of the dormitory. And this morning, she left wearing her uniform. Is she skipping school? However, more worrying than what Kotori was up to, it was how the others reacted about her. Even Agea looked like she felt uneasy talking about her. But I don't really know what the situation is, so I can't really say anything.
おい、山本。英語の辞書を貸してくんね。
Just as it was starting to get awkward, an optimistic voice called out. From the entrance of the classroom, a carefree-looking guy poked his head in and started speaking to a boy in our class.
お、ちょうどいいところに。おーい、マーボー。
だよ、アゲハ。なんか用か？
Agea called over some guy named Masa.
お前と仲良くしてっとエリちゃんのご機嫌が悪くなんだよ。
Jealous.
あれってやっぱジェラシーってやつだよな。
Called it.
いいからこっち来い。
お、誰これ？転校生？アゲハは見た目結構可愛いけど中身男だから気をつけろ。
Agea and I both looked blankly at him for a moment.
なんだよ。
Long time no see, Masa.
は？
Masa gave me a puzzled look. It's me. Have you forgotten me?
俺だよって。え？お前、葵？
I looked at Agea and she
にや。
She wanted to surprise him, so she intentionally didn't tell him. This carefree-looking guy was Masatsugu Tasaki. He was our childhood friend.
なんで葵がここにいるんだよ。てか、転校生って？
あんた驚きすぎ。
そりゃ驚くって。
You seem well, Masa. You've gotten taller. Matsatsugu used to be really small, but now he was about the same size as me. It wasn't quite like the change in Agea, but in the 5 years it looked like he'd grown to about twice the size.
お前こそ。
We bumped fists with each other. It's been a while since I did that with him.
本当に葵なのかよ。
Yeah, I'm back, man.
おかえり。葵！
This time he gave me a full-on hug. Hey, cut it out!
うんうん。熱い友情ってやつだね。
Mwah. Good night, everybody. We were the only ones who thought so, whereas all the girls around us were a bit taken back.
会いたかったよ。
What?
じゃねえよ、この裏切り者。
Masa suddenly backed off and thrust his finger at me. What?
いきなり出て行ったと思ったらろくに連絡もよこさねえで。俺やアゲハがどんな思いでいたかてめえ知ってるのか？
いやいや、勝手に私を巻き添えにするな。
そのくせよくものこのこと。
I'm sorry, but it's not my fault that I had to move away. If you want to complain, go talk to my dad. I thought about writing a letter, but it felt kind of embarrassing. As a matter of fact, both of us really didn't keep in contact with each other.
この裏切り者め、俺は絶対許さないかんな。お前なんか嫌いだ。バカバカ。
After saying that, he stormed out of the classroom, forgetting about the dictionary he was supposed to borrow.
子供かい。
It wasn't just us. Everyone in the classroom was shocked.
こうなると思って教えてなかったんだけどね。 知ってたらあいつ最初から全開であんな感じだっただろうから。
You made the correct decision, Agea. Even so, he did seem really upset about it.
あいつ最近彼女ができて調子づいてんのよ。小さい頃は「あおい、アゲハ待ってよ」とか言って私らの後にくっついてきてたのにね。大丈夫、すぐ元通りになるって。だってあいつ葵大好きっ子だもん。
Don't say it like that. It sounds weird.
そう、可愛いじゃない。
While we carried on talking, the bell to mark the end of lunchtime sounded. Everyone put away their lunch boxes and got ready for the next class. Agea headed back to her seat, but she stopped halfway and came back. What's up? Agea seemed concerned about those around us and lowered her voice.
なんでハバネさんのこと知ってるのかなって。
Well, the truth is, my mom asked me to be the house mother of a dorm. I lowered my voice as well.
寮の管理人？
And Kotori's actually staying there.
そうなんだ。
My mom asked me to take good care of her. Even if she hadn't, I'd be worried about her anyway. Agea thought about what I had said. Her expression didn't look too bright.
このまま来なくなるんじゃないかってみんな心配してる。あんまり学校が楽しくないみたいなんだ。
She couldn't believe that someone couldn't enjoy school. Boy. Yeah, imagine going to school and not enjoying it, right? Am I right? Yeah? Yeah. Who would go to school and not have fun, right? Silly. You seem to like it.
私？もちろんだよ。だって楽しいじゃない、学校。
I guess. It was still my first day at the new school, but I was liking it.
そっか。
Agea
そうなんだ。
mumbled something and went back to her seat. After school, I was alone and wandering around the school. This was so that I could take a look at some of the club activities. Film club, theater club, there's even an RC club. This was, after all, a technical school. Looking at the schoolyard from the window, I saw the sports clubs practicing in the heat outside. Compared to my school, things are pretty calm. The sports clubs at the school I used to go were taken so seriously. The sight of training before a match was one of grueling harshness. Wait, my school. I was a student of this school now. I guess I'll go take a look. I went down next to the schoolyard to get a closer look at the sports clubs practicing. Before long, I started to feel a little down, so I left. The doctor said that if it's light exercise, it shouldn't be a problem. I stamped down strongly with my right foot and didn't feel any discomfort. I saw the baseball team coming back from the running course.
あ、水瀬。お前、水瀬だろ？
The one calling me was an old friend. Toguchi, it's been a long time.
お前帰ってきたんだってな。もう部活は決めたのか？
No, not yet. I'm just looking around for now.
野球部入れよ。お前ならすぐレギュラーなれるぞ。
When I was a kid, I often played baseball at the park. I recognized my teammates and players from the other team at the time who were now on the baseball team. I'll think about it. As I casually responded, the baseball team headed back to the schoolyard. If we're talking about exercise, baseball and similar sports should be fine. I didn't feel like going back to the schoolyard, so I entered the path leading to the back of the school. I spent a while walking around the back of the school. I got to the school garden, which obviously didn't look like it was taken care of. There was a garage in that empty space. Hello? I'm coming in. It looked like no one was inside, but I thought I should still say something to let them know, just in case. Is this place used for club activities too? Or was it used for classes? I didn't know what they used it for, but there were many tools and parts crammed onto the shelves that covered the walls. In the center of the space, there was a huge object covered with a sheet. The bitter feelings that had washed over me like a wave while watching the sports clubs strangely subsided in this place. The tools and the dimly lit garage must have reminded me of the time when I would tinker with my bicycle. What's this used for? I concealed the sound of my footsteps as I snuck inside the garage. It's pretty spacious. There's a tea set here too. There was no doubt about it. Someone was using this place. I get a strange sense of activity. I guess it must be one of the clubs. Whoa! There was someone here. I was so surprised it felt like my heart was going to jump out. It seemed like they hadn't noticed me. The girl was staring at a blueprint on the drawing board. I'm sorry for letting myself in here. I'll be leaving soon. Maybe she didn't hear me. There's something in my eye. Sorry, guys. I could see that she was concentrating on the blueprint. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there and watched her. She was really beautiful now that I was able to get a closer look. Hey, why am I staring at her? I looked away. There was still no sign that she had noticed me at all. She looks quite mature. Maybe she's a fifth-year student. She really is beautiful. Kotori was pretty too, but this person had her own distinctive charm. Whoosh. Suddenly, she stood up. I'm sorry! Without thinking, I averted my eyes and apologized, but she walked right past me and grabbed a book from the shelf.
やっぱりそうか。
After finding what she was looking for in the book, she walked back to her seat. In good spirits, she began swiftly drawing the blueprints. You could tell that she was enjoying her work. The serious look that she had on her face turned into a smile. She smiles like a kid. As she gazed at the blueprint, I noticed that her eyes had a sort of innocent-like purity to them. Those eyes were like a child who believed the whole world was a wonderful place full of hope.
これでよしと。
Her hand stopped. I didn't miss that. Excuse me. She finally noticed me.
いや、こんにちは。
Even though I had unexpectedly appeared like that, she didn't show any signs of caution. She kept the smile as she greeted me. Hi. I wanted to say something to her, but I couldn't think of what.
どうかしたのかい？
I'm sorry that I just let myself in here. I just transferred here today, but I got lost while checking out the club activities. I got a little carried away and said more than I needed to, but she didn't seem interested at all. She gave me a puzzled look.
勝手に入ってくれて構わないぞ。
She said it in a blunt way, but at least she didn't seem angry. She has a strange way of speaking. Well, I'm sorry. I'd better go. As I was about to leave, a huge sound echoed through the garage. What's that noise?
ああ、お腹すいた。
Perfect music. I need to have this music play whenever I get hungry. With a lack of energy in her voice, the beautiful girl before me held her stomach and fell down onto the drawing board. Was that the sound of your stomach just now? Since we were inside the garage, sound echoed. What I had heard sounded like the growl of a monster.
空腹だったことを体が思い出してしまったらしいぞ。
She tried to get up, but because of her lack of energy, slumped back down on the drawing board. Would you like to have this? I took some bread out of my bag. It was something I had bought just in case lunch wasn't enough for me. Her eyes shone as if she were an explorer who had discovered treasure in a cave.
いいのか？
Go ahead.
ありがとう。
She opened up the wrapper and started to munch on it. She was getting crumbs everywhere, but it really looked like she was happy in the moment.
おいしい、おいしい。久しぶりのカロリー摂取だ。
Could that be because she's poor? The fact that she was so ecstatic over something like melon bread actually made me worried. Worries aside, she devoured the bread that I gave her.
おいしかった。
She murmured, looking happy as can be. She looked like she was mulling over the taste of the bread in her brain.
脳に糖分が染み渡る。
She turned right back to the drawing board. Then she started drawing up the blueprints again with incredible energy. From the serious look on her face, it seemed that she had already forgotten about me. She's weird. Not just a little, but very weird. Okay, well, I'll be off now. Perhaps she didn't hear me. I put the wrapper that she had left behind in my pocket and turned to leave. That was really weird. And that's a perfect stopping point. When I'm able to save, well then maybe I should head back. And this is where we hit the save button.
セーブデータを上書きしてもいいのね。
There we go. Alright. That was the beginning of If My Heart Had Wings. I will be back next Sunday to continue playing this game. In the meantime, I'll be back Tuesday to continue my playthrough of Trigger Witch. Man, I gotta tell you, it's days like today that I'm happy that I get to stream these games for EAS and show them off to you guys. Just such a wide variety of stuff. So many great games. Man, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. Remember, there is a physical version of this game available through Play Asia, but you'd better go get it quickly because there are not many copies left. So, until next Sunday, or until Tuesday, whichever, on behalf of East Asia Soft, I have been Skul. Have yourselves a great day and a great week, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.